Hey, welcome back to our channel. For this week's video, we'll be continuing on with our PTD400 label maker series. Today, I'm going to show you, how to adjust your margins. That's a big one. How to add tabs. And then we're going to utilize that multi-line print feature on this machine. Depending on what label you're using, you can have up to 5 lines of print. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's get started. So for this video, we're going to start by learning how to edit your label. So I'm sure at this point you guessed, if you power your machine on, I'll zoom in there, and you type letters, it's going to type something for you. But I'm going to show you how to dive a little deeper than that. So I'm going to start by showing you how to add a line of text. Depending on what label size you have in this machine, you can print multiple lines of print. I'll put a little title here, but to start, if you can print up to 5 different print lines if you have an 18 millimeter or 3/4 of an inch label. You can print up to 3 print lines with a 12 millimeter or a 1/2 inch label. You can print 2 lines with a 9 millimeter or 6 millimeter label. And then lastly, you can print 1 line of tape with that 3.5 millimeter or 9/64 of an inch, that's super narrow. But what we're going to want to do is say you have the word hello and you want to create another line of space. What we'll do is we'll hit this enter with the arrow going down, this little right here. And then you'll notice on the left side, it now says 1, 2. Line 1 being hello. And line 2 now being there. Right now, I could go up to 3 lines of print because I have a 1/2 inch label in my machine. A great way to check that is when you're looking through your machine, you can see right here, it says 12 millimeter. That's 1/2 inch. So you can kind of peek at what you've got. Now, I could switch this out, but I'm going to leave it be. So let's say I want to print that. We'll hit OK. I'll show you what that will look like with 2 lines of print. So you've got hello there. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how to delete text. Now you can hit this button right here, this backspace, and that's going to delete 1 letter at a time. Or what you can do is you can hit clear, and then that's going to say clear, ? Text and format, or text only. Text and format is going to be, let's say you had adjusted your margins, you had selected a border or a font size or a font type, and that was what you've been using to print your labels. That was going to clear what you've written and all the formatting you've put in. You can arrow down to text only, and that is going to clear just the words you've put in. So let's do text only for now, and then that brings you to a blank screen. So again, if you've typed something, you can either backspace 1 at a time, or you can hit the clear, and you can arrow between text and format and text only. So we'll do text and format, and you can either hit this enter or the OK, and it brings you back to here. Now, how to insert a tab. What we're going to do is we're going to hit menu, arrow over until you see tab as part of that menu, arrow down to tab, hit OK, and that has given you a tab right there. You can see you have a tab because it's a highlighted T. Another option that might be quicker is to just simply hit this button here that says tab. There are 2 ways to do it. I would suggest the shortcut of tab, but again, menu, arrow to tab, OK, and then that's there. So once you know how to use a tab, I'll show you how to change your tab length. We'll go label, you'll see length, margin, and then tab length. To do that, I just went through my arrows. We're at tab length. It's going to automatically start you at 2 inches. You can go up or down with your arrows, or you can type in how wide you want your tabs with your numbers here. I'll do 1 inch and I'll hit enter or OK. and that brings you down. So this tab that I've just put in is now 1 inch because I changed that tab side. Again, we're going to go label. You would arrow, tab length. I did not select anything. I'm just going to use my arrows or use my keyboard here. Okay, that's our tab length. Now for your label length itself, you have a few options. So we'll start by clicking label, and then you want to go length. Now this is different than tab length. Right now it says auto. So with auto, that means it's going to adjust your label to your wording. So if you wrote a whole sentence that I love pecan pie, your label is going to be however long it needs to be to type that entire sentence out and print it. Now if you give it, let's say your length can be 1.3. Now this would take you a while to arrow through your options, but you can arrow through, or you can set a length. So that's set to 3. That means if you set it to 3 inches, it's going to format the word I love pecan pie to a 3-inch label. So auto means your label changes for your statement, and tab length, like a specific tab length, changes your statement for that label. Okay, so I'm all set with this. So what I'll do is I'll just simply hit the escape button, which brings me back to my home screen here. Now, everyone's favorite part, we're going to adjust margins. What we'll do is we'll hit label. We're going to arrow down, not length, margin. So a full margin is going to be 1 inch wide. A half a margin is a 1/2 inch wide, and a narrow margin is 0.16 inches or 4 millimeters wide. Now when you print, so let's say we set our margins to narrow, okay? We've set a narrow margin, and my word is hello, and I'm going to print that. You have to use my cutter blade here. In order for it to count as that narrow margin of that 0.16 of an inch, you would need to cut along these dotted lines here. Now the reason you're still going to get this waste here is because this internal cutter blade, this label has to pass it, and it has to have something to grip onto. The best way I've found to help cut this down would be to print, say you were going to make this label 10 times, do them all together, and then use scissors to individually cut them apart. So again, to adjust your margins, you're going to hit label. You would arrow till you see the word margin, and then you're going to arrow through. Full is 1 inch, half is a 1/2 inch, and narrow is 0.16 inches or 4 millimeters. And it's as easy as that. Please thumbs up this video and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on what we do next week. Next week we'll be covering some symbols and frames, so it will be a fun one. See you then.